Wow, I love coronavirus, but now since everyone's at home, I can finally achieve my life goal. I can finally spread my religion. Silence. Welcome everybody to this, where we worship the almighty roller coaster database. We shall begin with a song. Oh wait, that actually doesn't work because I can apparently talk normally without my voice being muffled, but it's still a good excuse to not have to sing. Let's see, we could do donations. Anyone want to donate to a random guy in a mask worshipping a roller coaster website? Oh, I know, we can do communion. I think I was supposed to give out the bread and the grape juice that they left in the back, but I was hungry. But it's okay, cause I made these cards. Come get the cards, kids! Oh wait, y'all are background objects and can't move. Well, I'm not good at animating projectiles, but here goes. Your cards contain images of roller coasters which you shall now be forced to ride. Wait, I already have this credit. I'm sorry, what? Oh, sorry, you can't talk because I don't have any other voice actors and my attempts at doing other voices were questionable. So I shall use the power of text-to-speech.
Aren't all the parks closed?
Well, you see, I started planning the script in my head before the coronapocalypse started.
Oh look, I got inertia airplane car. Oh frick.
I have received next flight at Six Flag Park. Why isn't Great America closed until the corona vaccine is introduced?
You shall not eat nor sleep until you ride the roller coaster on your car.
Wait a minute. This says that Speedy Gonzales Hot Rod Racers is a family coaster when it's clearly a kiddie coaster. A yuck viewing me case go.
No, roller coaster database. You failed me. How could you?
Wait, I thought Roller Coaster Database was a non-profit. Why would they hire a demon?
Oh, I'm not associated with them. I'm just an obsessive fan who terrorizes other obsessive fans. Now, act scared.
Sorry, I would scream, but there's other people in the house as I'm recording, so what do you want?
For questioning the judgment of Roller Coaster Database, you shall be sentenced to review all of the roller coasters that you consider to be kiddie coasters.
But that's like 20 roller coasters. It would take me years to finish that with my procrastination levels.
Which is why I'm also trapping you in my dungeon with no food or water until you finish the video.
Dang it. So, I've made up an excuse for why this video took so long to come out. You see, I wanted to get better software for my YouTube videos, which boiled down to, I wonder how much Adobe Animate costs. No! Why did my phone have a cursor? Whatever, I have to decide how to rank all of these kiddie coasters. Wow, that transition was terrible! Alright, now time for the needlessly long disclaimer that accompanies every ranking video on YouTube. Well, now all that's left to do is start this list. But, how am I going to record or edit the video if I was locked in this dungeon without a laptop? I'm not going to get an answer to that question, am I? Our first kiddie coaster is located at a park which nobody has ever heard of. Which is warranted because this is barely a park. I mean, the park paths here are literally just dirt. The origin of this coaster is also questionable, as the ride was made by Alan Herschel, who went defunct in 1970, but the coaster opened in 2013 and was allegedly not relocated from another park. This ride does not feel like a kiddie coaster, though. It's by far the most aggressive kiddie coaster I've ridden. The drop is quite large for a coaster of its type, and it drops into a sharp, unbanked turn. This causes insane lateral G-forces that violently slam you into the side of your ride vehicle. The airtime hills following are weak, but the second turn provides decent laterals. Now, I am judging scores by comparing them to other kiddie coasters, not other coasters in general, so 8 out of 10. So, around 6 years ago, I was walking around the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, and I found a temporary wacky worm, and I rode it. So this thing isn't on Roller Coaster Database. I remember it had decent theming, and the ride itself was harmless but boring. Certainly not worth the likely outlandish fee I had to pay to experience it. 4 out of 10. This coaster surprised me in that it looked like a boring, janky mess, but it was just a boring mess. This thing was very smooth, however, it's not aggressive enough to be interesting. This is still a fun ride though, and could be mellow enough to actually be a good first roller coaster unlike most others. 6 out of 10. Dang it, I knew it was a bad idea to rank the coasters this way. Time to use my favorite website. This literally didn't help me at all. Dragon Wagon is my least favorite roller coaster, and I know it's not really fair to consider a kiddie coaster to be the worst roller coaster ever, but I tend to avoid the more infamous bad roller coasters like the Coma Boomerangs. Oh wait, this ride consists of a tire lift followed by a drop and a helix. The track profiling on this ride is awful, and the roughness is amplified by the fact that this is a temporary ride. There is no enjoyment to be found on this ride. Please don't waste your overpriced State Fair tickets on it. 1 out of 10. This Dragon Wagon manages to be both better than the one at the State Fair of Texas and worse at the same time. It has an incredibly basic oval layout and feels more like a flat ride than anything, but on the bright side, it's not as rough. I don't think there are any points on this ride where the car coasts freely, but it's still a credit because Roller Coaster Database considers it to be so. It's very bland overall. 4 out of 10. I guess you could consider Vekoma Jr. coasters to be family rides, but they feel like kiddie coasters to me. Out of the many that I've ridden, Barnstormer is my least favorite because it feels the roughest. The theming is also quite minuscule for a Disney coaster, and it used to have more before the Storybook Circus retheme. It took me 4 visits to Magic Kingdom before I finally forced myself to ride this, and it didn't pay off. This is a credit. 3 out of 10. Again? This is another temporary wacky worm, except it's themed to a dog, it's even more overpriced, and it has no theming. 3 out of 10. Little Dipper is the same model as the Range, with a different layout, and similarly it's at a tiny park in Texas that probably shouldn't be considered a park. However, I do because it had a pretzel dark ride. Oh yeah, this park randomly shut down at the end of the 2018 season. This ride looked and felt like it was falling apart. Because of this, it's very rough, but at least it has similar laterals to the Range. That doesn't take away from the fact that this ride scared me. 5 out of 10. That's it. I'm just going to order them based on the order of the scripts. Mini Mine Train is the oldest coaster on this list, yet it holds up. It's decently smooth, it has fun laterals, and even a bit of airtime. In addition, it has the same forested environment as its neighboring Garbage Fire, and even goes under Mr. Freeze. This is a great kiddie coaster. 9 out of 10. In this case, I don't remember riding this at all, but my parents claim that I rode it when I visited Legoland. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have included this because I can't compare it to any other kiddie coasters I've ridden, but the scenery is really nice looking, and the ride has nice length. If this ride is smooth, then we may have found the perfect kiddie coaster. 10 out of 10. Here we have the first of the 3 kiddie coasters I rode at Magic Mountain. And in case you're wondering why I took the time to ride all 3 kiddie coasters in the park that weren't called Magic Flyer, it's because X2, Ninja, Apocalypse, Scream, and Wriggler were all closed when I went. This ride was alright. It was quite aggressive but a bit rough. Also, wow, that theming, guys. 6 out of 10. I love how this ride is the same model as Canyon Blaster, and it has the same amount of letters on its name. That is an amazing coincidence. Anyways, there's slightly less scenery on this ride, so I'm going to give it 1 less point. 5 out of 10. I don't know why I took the time to ride this, but not
Tammy.
This feels like a Zamperla family gravity coaster, except it's a bit longer. That's not a compliment. However, the train looks nice, and the theming looks nice, and the track color looks nice, so it gets a 7 out of 10. This was my first encounter with the SBF spinning coaster. This model looked like it could be smooth and fun, but I was ultimately disappointed. This thing shakes a bit, and the spinning is a bit jerky. The ride also looks very tacky with its stupid-looking sign and location in which they plopped it on top of the sidewalk. I guess it's okay overall, 5 out of 10. I didn't ride this until my second visit to the State Fair of Texas because I couldn't decide whether or not this was a credit until I drove by Tiger Mike at Boomers, which was the same thing, and I looked it up on Roller Coaster Database. There's nothing to Choo Choo Express, but at least it doesn't do absolutely nothing while also bringing you pain like the monstrosity next door. 4 out of 10. This ride is way better than Barnstormer. The scenery is very well done, the track color looks great with the rest of Toontown, and the ride is smooth. I mean, it's not surprising considering Disney put effort into Disneyland's Toontown, whereas Toontown Fair was quickly thrown together and eventually murdered and replaced with long lines. Nice improvement, Disney, even though Gadget's Go Coaster opened first. That makes sense. 8 out of 10. Why is this ride so painful? Like, I can't believe there's a kiddie coaster out there with forces like these. You get seated in what feels like a tub and traverse a long layout filled with airtime hills. If they were more drawn out, they might give airtime, but instead they just cause pain. The scenery looks nice, maybe a bit too nice considering I couldn't find the ride on my first visit to Knott's. Not that I was trying. This ride is a bit much for kids to enjoy, and the low height limit makes it so a large amount of adults can't ride it. So I'm a bit confused as to what audience this ride is for. 5 out of 10. It's time for the second non-Magic Flyer kiddie coaster at Magic Mountain. This is definitely the best out of the 3 of them. It's the smallest Vekoma Jr. coaster that I've experienced, and it's a bit rough but decent. The theming is a bit tacky, but at least Six Flags made an attempt. 6 out of 10. I hate Zamperla family gravity coasters. They're basically like Dragon Wagon at the State Fair of Texas, but slightly smoother because they're permanent attractions. I have unfortunately ridden a handful of these, and Whistlepunk Chaser is probably the best. It's the smoothest, not that that's saying much, and the queue actually has theming. The scenery looks nice, and the track color blends well with the area. It's still a Zamperla though. 5 out of 10. Santa's Runaway Sleigh is the other roller coaster at Yesterland Farm. This is one of the first roller coasters I ever went on, partially because I went here before the range was installed. So I do have a bit of a soft spot for this ride. The theming has charm to it, and the enclosed lift hill is cool, and the ride has the right amount of aggressiveness to be entertaining but not painful. I may be giving this ride too much credit, but I still really enjoy it. 8 out of 10. This ride and its counterpart in Hollywood are by far the best themed kiddie coasters. The only reason I put these on the list is because I consider the other Vekoma Jr. coasters to be kiddie coasters, but these definitely blur the line between the two classes. This ride is really fun, but a bit rough, but what ruins it for me is that the line is always half an hour long or longer, which really isn't warranted. I can't deny the quality of the ride though. 7 out of 10. There are no differences between this and the Orlando version other than it being newer and therefore smoother. Because of this, Flight of the Hippogriff at Universal Studios Hollywood is my favorite kiddie coaster. 10 out of 10. I don't like this ride. It has less theming than Whistlepunk Chaser, and it's quite a bit rougher. I also had to wait a lot longer for this ride, and in addition, the ride does a very harsh stop after the end of the third lap. Great job, Zamperla! 3 out of 10. This ride looked really fun to me, and I had to wait a long time to ride it because the first time I went to SeaWorld Orlando, it was under renovation, reopened only 2 weeks later, so that was exciting. So I had a lot of hype for this Sesame Street themed kiddie coaster. Tragically, this ride suffers from janky transitions. Also, you have to battle your way through the water play area to get to this ride's entrance. Thanks for that, SeaWorld. 5 out of 10. This is slightly better than Grand Exposition Coaster, only because it's a bit smoother and it doesn't have the painful stop. 4 out of 10. Finally, we come to the last kiddie coaster. I had heard a lot of bad things about this ride, and they were all warranted because Woody Woodpecker's demonic laugh plays on the lift hill and it made me want to eat myself. But in all honesty, this ride was nice and smooth. It's also not as big as the Flight of the Hippogriff rides, so it provides a better first coaster for kids. It would be a shame if Universal removes this for Pokemon or whatever the rumors are now. 9 out of 10. Hooray, I'm finally done. Can I come out now? Huh.
Dude, you used Scratch, iMovie, and QuickTime Player for your video.
And Google Docs.
I'm never letting you out now.
Well, I'm about to escape anyway because 21 subscriber YouTube channels don't have continuity.